If you're an audio or video podcaster, then you know how important the quality of your audio is. So I'm going to let you hear some comparisons between the giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone, the Audio-Technica ATR2100-USB dynamic microphone, the Nady SP-1 dynamic microphone, and the golden standard, the Heil PR40 dynamic microphone. Welcome to the Audacity to Podcast, an award-winning how-to podcast about podcasting and using Audacity. Episode 119. Hi, I'm Daniel J. Lewis from the Audacity-to-Podcast.com, where I give you the guts and teach you the tools to podcast with passion, organization, and dialogue. Today's quite a bit different of an episode that I'm recording. My audio subscribers over at theaudacitytopodcast.com are hearing the exact same audio that my video subscribers from theaudacitytopodcast.com and on YouTube are also hearing. But if you're just listening to this and you notice that everything sounds very different, it's because I'm using a different microphone. I'm using the giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone right now as I compare these different microphones, and you'll be able to see this if you go to the show notes at theaudacitytopodcast.com/119. You can watch this video if you're not already watching it. Now, as podcasters, we want our audio to sound great, and that's one of the most important things if you're doing video as well, because the internal microphone on your camera will not be good enough for a video podcast. You really need to have something that's wired into your camera or something that's synchronizing up later. The way I'm doing this right now is I'm using a Canon T4i, that's a digital SLR camera positioned in front of me, and it's pointing back at my studio, and it's recording the video. Now, nothing is actually wired into it at this point because I'm recording separately into a Zoom H4n portable digital audio recorder. The giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone is a wired lavalier microphone. So this means you don't have as much free motion unless you plug it into a portable external digital audio recorder like a Zoom H1 works fantastic for this. Just slip it in your pocket. Or as I'm doing, I'm plugged into the back mic in of my Zoom H4n to get this recording. And then I'll synchronize this up in post-production. But then what you'll get here are some samples and examples of the differences between the microphone I'm currently using, which is a lavalier microphone, which works great for video, because I'm not sure if you've noticed some of my other videos, but if you watch my more recent episodes where I've got the high definition quality video, like my podcast awards videos or my video I recently did about how to add cover art for your podcast, you may have noticed a little microphone stand off to the side, pointing slightly toward me, reaching down. And that was because I was actually using my Heil PR40 dynamic microphone for a video microphone. I don't always recommend that, but it worked great in my case because I just positioned the microphone just barely out of the frame of the camera, and it still picked up the audio really well. But if you watch the videos that I've made before, you may notice that either I don't use my right hand for motion very much, or I do so in kind of awkward ways because I end up having to reach around the mic overhead boom arm, and that's then cluttering my workspace. I can't hold things, I can't move my arms very freely. But when I'm doing this with a lavalier microphone, it means I have so much more freedom. I can move my arms around, I can turn my body, I can pick something up, move something around. I have total freedom here in front of me, around me to record. So if you're doing video, this is the way I really recommend doing it. Have a lavalier microphone, or even nicer, to not have a microphone in the video is if you get a shotgun mic, which would then mount above you and can often get even better quality. But shotgun mics aren't as portable, or you need someone to help you hold them, or you need a fancy rigging system to hold up the microphone. But I want you to be able to hear the audio quality difference in these different microphones that you could consider using for your audio or for your video podcast, especially if you're doing video, because that's what the whole lavalier microphone idea is for. You would not want to use a lavalier microphone for an audio podcast. It's strictly for video. because of the quality. And if you're listening to the audio right now, then you notice there's a lot more room noise. My audio quality sounds lower. You're probably hearing the hum of my computer in the background. That's because I'm using this condenser microphone on my clip to my little hoodie sweater. And it works great for video, though. So make sure that you go to the show notes at theaudacitytopodcast.com/119 or look below this video if you want to find the links to purchase each of these things. I have affiliate links for most of these microphones, not for the Giant Squid, but I'll be telling you the prices for each of these as we go along. The mic tests you're about to hear have all been unprocessed. I haven't run dynamics compression, no hardware compressor, limiter, or gate, no hard limit filter or effects or anything like that, no multi-band compressor, anything. These are the raw recordings from each microphone. The only thing that I've done is normalized each of these microphones separately, but to the same amount. And normalization simply increases the overall volume so that the maximum points hit a certain volume level. So no special effects other than that. So you're going to hear the raw samples from each of these microphones. So far I've been talking to you through the Giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone. Let's switch over to the Heil PR40. So now I'm talking to you through the Heil PR40. This is the golden standard of podcasting microphones. This mic is about $300. I have links in the show notes at theaudacitytopodcast.com/119, or you can just go to theaudacitytopodcast.com/PR40 to check out the links there and some of the latest prices from Amazon, B&H, and Musicians Friends, and that will be affiliate links on that site there. But this is the microphone you usually hear me podcasting with. And I'm holding it, or I have it mounted in a position pretty much the same as the way I normally podcast. And that is with the microphone pointing at my mouth, but from an angle. It's at about a 45-degree angle from my mouth. So that way I'm not talking directly into it. I'm kind of talking past it, but it's still pointed at just the front of my mouth where the sound actually is. So this is the audio quality that you're used to hearing. I'm going to do a test here that I will dub the dollar bill test. And that is, I have just a regular dollar bill, and I'm going to play with this dollar bill a little bit up near the microphone so you can hear it. And also just rub the dollar bill around. So that's near the microphone. Now I will hold the dollar bill at arm's length from myself and rub it around. And you can't hear it very much with the Heil PR40. You also can't hear my computer noise in the background very much with the Heil PR40. But if I switch over to the Giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone that I'm wearing, you'll hear this dollar bill a whole lot more. And that's because of the difference in design between condenser mics and dynamic mics. But again, we're talking about very different microphones for very different purposes here. If I was making a video, I would not want the Heil PR40 to be right in front of my face like it is right now. I'd want it out of the way, positioned in some way off the screen, as you've seen me do in other videos, which I will also demonstrate to you right now. Now I'm talking to you through the Heil PR40, but this time, instead of being in the podcasting position or audio podcasting position, it's in the position very similar to what I've done for some of my previous video episodes, which you can check out at theaudacitypodcast.com/iTunes video or at youtube.com/noodlemx. The microphone is about 4 to 6 inches from my mouth, which is about the same distance as the Giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone, which for the rest of this video I may just refer to as my lav mic for shortness. But this microphone is positioned so that if I were to frame my image, my video, very close to my face, which you'll see I've done on most of my other videos, this microphone would be just out of the frame. And I've previously had to frame my video so close like that so that the microphone wouldn't show. I didn't want the microphone showing. But in this video that I'm recording right now, I've got a wider image or a wider frame so that you can see the microphone this time and see how close it is to my face. And this is me talking then on the Heil PR40 below my chin, about 6 inches. If you were to draw a line directly below my chin down, it's about 4 to 6 inches away from my mouth. And then this is me talking on the Giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone, about the same distance from my face. So you can tell some of the audio quality on the lav mic versus the Giant Squid versus the Heil PR40 mic. So it's very different for video, but I would say the lavalier mic is so much more versatile. Because like I mentioned before, if I'm trying to do a video with the Heil PR40 in this position, then I have to reach around the stand that's in front of me or try and position it so it doesn't look odd in this image, which if you watch the video, then you'll see that I have this mic stand kind of awkwardly pointing toward me, and it's just in the way, and it's not a great thing for video. That's what I love about having a lavalier microphone for video, is that it gets the microphone out of the way and it frees my hand to be around, hold things up, move around, whatever. But with this Heil PR40, it works, yes. I could also do something like position it above me. So now I've got the microphone positioned above me. I have much more freedom of motion now with my hands. But in order to get a good sound from this mic, because my head is taller than, or my head is a certain height, I have to actually have the microphone a bit farther from my face in order to get the same quality of the picture, not having the microphone in the picture. But then I might have to increase the volume, I get more room noise, anything like that. So above my head is maybe not necessarily the best idea. And these stands, some of these stands that you might use aren't designed to really hold the microphone that high. So you might have things like the microphone slowly coming down, or you risk bumping your head into the microphone or it appearing in your frame. And I can see my microphone stand is slowly creeping down on me as well into this video that I'm recording. By the way, make sure that you check out the video if you're not already watching, because you can see these things that I'm doing with the microphones. Now you're hearing me talk to you through the Audio-Technica ATR2100-USB microphone. This is a fantastic microphone, and don't let the model number that says USB fool you, because this is also an XLR microphone. It's a fantastic microphone that I recommend for many podcasters, because you can start out with this, and then someday if you decide to upgrade to a mixer, you don't have to throw away this microphone, because you can either plug it directly into your computer when you're starting out, or later on plug it into your mixer along with other microphones, maybe more ATR2100 USB mics, directly into the XLR inputs. That's the 3-prong plug that you see on most professional audio equipment and the mixers. So this microphone is a fantastic microphone for starting out. It's now about $35 on Amazon.com. Check out my link at theaudacitypodcast.com/ATR2100 for affiliate links there, or in the show notes for this podcast, where you can purchase that from Amazon and help support what I'm doing. But for $35, this is a fantastic microphone. You can hear the quality. You can hear that, yeah, it's a little bit different. Like here I am right now on the Audio-Technica ATR2100 USB microphone, or here I am now on the Giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone. And you can hear obvious differences because of the design of the microphones. The Lav is a condenser microphone. The Audio-Technica is a dynamic microphone. So when I switch back over to the dynamic microphone, you probably don't hear much computer noise in the background. But let's do our same dollar bill test. So here's my dollar bill up close to the microphone. And then here it is at about arm's length from the microphone. So you notice right away a lot more noise rejection on this microphone compared to the lav microphone I'm wearing, which is right now. So for $35, I would say that a podcaster who's just starting out really can't go wrong with the Audio-Technica ATR2100 USB microphone. It's a future-proof microphone. You don't have to throw it away like you would normally have to with most USB microphones. If you upgrade to a mixer, then that means you can't plug a USB microphone into a mixer, but the Audio-Technica can plug directly into your computer, Windows or Mac, by connecting through USB, or it can plug into a mixer through the XLR inputs. So this is me on the Audio-Technica ATR2100 USB dynamic microphone. Now I'm talking to you on the Nady SP-1 microphone. This is a really inexpensive dynamic microphone. You can get this thing for about $10 or $15. I've previously highly recommended this microphone for the starting podcaster with a mixer because this microphone is only XLR output. It has no USB connections, but what's awesome about this microphone is you can get the microphone, the little mic clip, the stand, and the XLR cable all together for under $30 from Amazon Musician's Friend, B&H. It's a great value if you need a dynamic XLR microphone and you already have a mixer. But that's one of the things I love about the Audio-Technica ATR2100 USB mic is that because it's USB and XLR, you don't have to have a mixer to use it. This Nady SP-1 microphone, you do have to have a mixer to use it, but if you already have a mixer or some way to connect XLR into your recorder or into your computer, if you're recording directly into your computer, then this microphone can be a great value for you because these things, $10 or so, $10, $13 to pick up one of these microphones. And as you can hear, it's pretty good. Now, it's not as good as the Heil PR40, but it is still really good for the cost and for how versatile it is. Now, this is definitely not a microphone that you would want to handle because this will pick up handling noise a whole lot more than the Audio-Technica mic does. But this microphone sounds pretty good, although I'd say sounds maybe slightly muffled, but $10 to $15 or so for this dynamic mic is a great deal. And then you can get the onstage mic stand, the XLR cable, the clip, and the microphone itself, all for about $30 or a little less than that. Great deal if you have a mixer or a way to connect XLR to your recorder or your computer. Now let's do the dollar bill test on this microphone. So here's my dollar bill up close to the microphone. And here's the dollar bill then about an arm length away from the microphone. And for comparison, here I am on my lav mic with the dollar bill at arm's length from me. And you notice again, the lav mic picks it up very well. And here it is closer to me at about my mouth level. So you can hear some obvious differences, again, between this dynamic stage microphone, which works great for podcasting, audio podcasting, and the lavalier microphone, which works great for video podcasting. So again, you have the same issues with this microphone if you're trying to record it for video as you would with the other microphones, because this is a microphone that does best when it's close to your mouth. That way you get the nice studio sound of your voice. These are all of these other microphones I just showed you, the ATR2100, the Heil PR40, and this Nady SP-1 are microphones best for audio podcasting, where you can be close to the microphone. You can have a pop filter or a windscreen like I'm using on this. And by the way, all three of these mics that I'm using are running into my mixer into a Zoom H4n, no compression, hard limiting, anything like that. So this audio has been only normalized. I haven't done any kind of processing on this because I want you to hear these raw recordings and be able to hear the difference between these microphones and the ways that they record sound. All of the equalization is off on my mixer. I'm not doing any software or hardware compression, limiting, or gating on any of these mics. So now that you've heard me describe each of these microphones, their prices, some of the things that are great about each of them, let's compare all four of them together again. We'll be comparing the Nady SP-1 microphone, $10 to $15 XLR dynamic microphone, the Audio-Technica ATR2100 USB microphone, which is also an XLR microphone, plug it directly into your mixer or directly into your computer, and the golden standard Heil PR40 dynamic studio microphone, about $300 for this, about $35 for the Audio-Technica ATR2100, and about $10 to $15 for the Nady SP-1 dynamic microphone, and the Giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone for about $46, including shipping. Visit theaudacitypodcast.com/119 for show notes and links to each of these microphones. Visit theaudacitypodcast.com/119 for show notes and links to these microphones. Visit theaudacitypodcast.com/119 for show notes and links to these microphones. Visit theaudacitypodcast.com for show notes and links to these microphones. So there you have it, 4 podcasting microphones that can work within your budget depending on your needs for podcasting. The Nady SP-1 for about $10 to $15 for just the microphone by itself. The Audio-Technica ATR2100-USB microphone and XLR, don't forget that, for about $35. The Heil PR40 for about $300, the golden standard. And the giant Squid Audio Lab's lavalier microphone for about $46 with shipping. Now, on all of these microphones, you notice that I had a little windscreen. For the Heil PR40, I have a specialized pop filter, but for the other microphones, I was using this windscreen. This is a fantastic windscreen that's designed actually for the Shure SM58, another great microphone, by the way, that's XLR only. But this windscreen is high quality, it's foam, and on the inside, if I turn it inside out, it has an actual extra layer of foam in it right on the tip of the microphone. So when this sits on a microphone, the sides around it have a certain layer of foam, but then the end, where most dynamic microphones are end fire microphones, that means they pick up from the end of the microphone, the end of this little windscreen then has this extra padding there to further prevent those popped P's and plosives that we have in our everyday language, or just those times when you have extra breath coming out of your mouth when you say a particular word. And I'll have a link to this as well in the show notes at theaudacitypodcast.com/119 or just below this video if you're watching on YouTube or on the website. These windscreens are really inexpensive too. They're under $10, fantastic quality, both in build quality and the way that they affect the audio for the microphone. And they work really well on different microphones. On the Nady SP-1, I have to kind of work this windscreen onto the microphone to get it to work and fit properly. But on the Audio-Technica ATR2100-USB, this windscreen just fits on very smoothly, very nicely. So look at the show notes at theaudacitypodcast.com/119 to get the links to all of these microphones. Watch the video if you're listening to the audio right now, and also you can get the link to that windscreen filter that I recommend for these microphones. Now, if you purchase anything through those links at theaudacitypodcast.com/119, those are my affiliate links, and I would be very grateful if you would purchase through those because that helps support what I'm doing. I'm also available for one-on-one consulting to help you learn how to podcast. And if you have questions that you'd like me to answer in the podcast, either through video or audio, then please send those to me written or recorded, including video, to feedback@theaudacitypodcast.com. or leave a voicemail at 903-231-2221. You can also go to theaudacitypodcast.com and click or tap on the send a voice message link on your computer or your iOS device and record a message easily that way. And comment on the show notes to let me know what you thought of these microphones, which one you like the best, what else you would suggest as alternatives to these microphones, or what has your experience been with these microphones. Please comment on the show notes at theaudacitypodcast.com/119 or comment on YouTube, which you can get our YouTube playlist for the Audacity to Podcast at theaudacitypodcast.com/YouTube. Special thanks to Hot Spices and Maryland for your kind reviews on my audio version of the Audacity to Podcast. If anyone else would like to leave a review for the audio edition, please go to theaudacitypodcast.com/iTunes or leave a review for the video edition of this podcast at theaudacitypodcast.com/iTunes video. Please follow me on Twitter at @TheRamenNoodle. And now that I've given you some of the guts and taught you some of the tools, it's time for you to go podcast with passion, organization, and dialogue. I'm Daniel J. Lewis. Thanks for listening and for watching. The Audacity to Podcast is a proud member of Noodle Mix Network. Find more of our podcasts to make you think, laugh, and succeed at noodle.mx. The Audacity to Podcast is also a proud